Hello and welcome back. Today we're taking a look at another video from MTV Decoded. Unfortunately, this one's called The Strange and Gross Origin of Cuck. Let's check it out.
How do you pack hundreds of years of racism, sexism, and misogyny into just 4 letters? C-U-C-K.
Hundreds of years of racism, sexism, and misogyny that you never experienced, Francesca. Hell, who knows if all that's even true? My parents only date back to 1955, so that's about all the actual experience I could speak of in my family. And while I luckily never experienced any noticeable racism myself, my parents told me some stories, and guess what? In the Midwest, in the 80s and 90s, the racism went both ways. White people aren't the only racist out there, Francesca. Black and brown and Asian people, they can be racist too.
If you've been online recently, you might have noticed the word cuck being thrown around a lot. Not to be confused with that male chicken. You're a man who identifies as a feminist? Cuck. Don't like Donald Trump? Cuck. Someone who likes a certain MTV web series host that you don't like? Cuck.
Sounds like you're a little butthurt from people calling you and your followers cucks, if you even have that many followers. This video, for example, has been out for almost a week and it doesn't even have 300 likes on a fucking channel with 1.6 million subscribers. To put a little perspective on that, my video I released yesterday, less than 24 hours ago, that's already got almost 1,000 likes. And I have about 1.6 million less subs than them. These numbers are simply embarrassing for MTV. They should be embarrassed and so should Francesca. But back to the word cuck. I have a feeling the whole reason they made this video is because they're salty about being called cuck over and over again. Let's see where it goes.
To understand the history of cuck, look no further than its 2 delightfully intertwined components, misogyny and racism, the key ingredients in America's favorite sandwich.
No, you're America's favorite shit sandwich, or should I say shit-faced sandwich. I also love how these regressives will double down on their victimhood complexes. Franny's never satisfied with something being just racist. Hell, everything is racist to her at this point, so she needs a little more pop to make this video special. Why don't we say cuck is sexist too? Why not?
Now, before we get into cuck's modern usage, we have to go all the way back to the innocent cuckoo bird. Cuckoo birds commonly lay their eggs in other birds' nests and leave them there to be raised. During the Middle Ages, that otherwise benign bird became a symbol for a husband with an unfaithful wife.
So this is the part that actually sounds true. From my understanding, yes, cuck came from cuckold, meaning a man whose wife was unfaithful. I remember learning about cuckold in high school English class, so this kind of checks out. Now let's see how Franny turns this into wacism.
Over time, the shortened version of the word cuck became more common, and that's likely because of 2 of America's favorite pastimes, racism and pornography.
I'm so sick of this bitch saying America's favorite pastime is racism, or America was founded on racism. She always puts a line like that in her videos nowadays, and it's getting really old. We're not all obsessed with racism, Francesca. You are. I know it may sound like I am too, but I'm reacting to your crappy videos. And just because you found a way to blame everything on racism, that doesn't make it true. In fact, you've gotten so bad that your jumps to blame racism are getting longer and longer. Does your back hurt at all? Your arms? Because you're stretching more and more to make things racist every day. Take the last Decoded video. If you don't remember, Franny brings up the fact that blacks get arrested for weed 4 times as much as whites. And then out of nowhere, without any backing or sources, she effortlessly jumps to the conclusion this must be because of racism, even though there's plenty of other better, more reasonable explanations out there, which I went over. Watch my review video from last week for more info. But back to today's video. Now, when you've got a person like Francesca, someone who easily and happily blames racism for everything, can we really take her word for it? I don't think so. So, needless to say, racism isn't one of America's favorite pastimes, like she was saying. It's not prevalent and out there in every facet of society like Franny would have you believe. Hell, even America's actual pastime, baseball, that's not a thing everyone in the country takes part in. Sure, everyone knows about baseball and most have been to a game or two, but I would still say only around half the country are actual baseball fans. In fact, I found a Gallup poll that actually confirms this. Link below. So if America's actual pastime is only championed by around half the population, what percentage do you guys think are part of this fake American pastime of racism? Surely it's less than baseball, so less than 50. I would say half of that at the most, so maybe 10 or 20% of the country are racist, if we're being generous. You see how these numbers go down and down as you start to analyze them? Francesca would have you believe our country is 99% racist, if you let her. Pretty much everyone and everything is racist to Francesca, except herself, of course. Now I've got myself wondering about that. If Franny can find a way to to make everything else racist. You would think she would find a way to make herself racist as well. But in reality, their narcissistic personalities can literally justify anything. Anything to make themselves look good, better, and most importantly, right. Basically, Franny is a black, unfunny Eric Cartman. She plays such high-level mental gymnastics in her head, she actually believes her own bullshit. She's an authentic, high-functioning, crazy person.
Cuckold, or cuck, became used to refer to a genre of porn where husbands, usually white, watch their wives have sex with another man, usually black. Not only is she cheating on you, but she's cheating with a man who's perceived as racially inferior.
Perhaps that's why they chose a black man. I could totally see it being a racial dominance thing. Or it could be because black dudes have giant cocks.
But what leads many guys to use the term isn't just its racist undertones, but, surprise, rampant sexism. Now, if you really want to know where the modern usage of cuck comes from, remember that pickup artist scene from the early 2000s? That mystery guy? I mean, it's better if you don't, but we gotta talk about it.
Sure, Mystery was a weirdo, and many people who flocked to the pickup scene were creepers, but most of them were just guys trying to figure out how to get dates. There's nothing wrong with that. Girls do the same thing all the time, but there's no stigma around it. There's a clear double standard in the world of dating advice. Now, I know pickup artists can seem manipulative to outsiders, but it's really not that bad. They just teach guys how to be confident, social, and how to talk to girls. It's a self-improvement thing, not manipulation. There's no tricks, there's no problems here. Girls like Franny just get butthurt because they can't stand it when they lose control of the dating scene. Seeing guys become smart, savvy daters is frustrating to women because they're so used to having all the control. This is the same reason prostitution is illegal and women are trying to outlaw sex bots. Because if they don't have control in dating, in sex, in relationships, they really don't have control of anything.
So when it comes to men, pickup artists like to divide them into alphas and betas. An alpha is a guy who totally gets all the sexy desires because his controlling and dominant personality is so attractive to women. That was sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah, we know, Franny. You're trying to be funny by being condescending and shrill. Here's the thing. Most women are attracted to alpha men. They like confident, strong, independent guys. They just do. Now, that doesn't mean all betas are left to flounder. Many beta men are swept up by single moms looking for a meal ticket, or other betas are snatched up by a dominant, overly aggressive feminist like you, Francesca. I know why you're so partial to betas. You fucking married one.
Meanwhile, a beta is a guy who's too nice to be an alpha, and supposedly is always being used by women and never gets laid. Being taught to respect women is referred to as betafying, and a beta is also often referred to as, you guessed it, a cuck.
Actually, I've never heard of the word betafying, and I can't find it anywhere on the internet either. I'm willing to bet you made this part up because nothing about the pickup or dating advice community says they should disrespect girls. Getting advice about dating doesn't mean you disrespect women. It kind of means you like them more, actually. You have enough respect to take the time and money it takes to learn how to woo women. It actually sounds pretty respectful to me. Disrespecting women would be treating them like shit, not talking them up, taking them on dates, seducing them, and then giving them great orgasms in bed. Clearly, Franny has no clue what dating is all about.
Essentially, to call someone a cuck is to imply that they aren't a real or strong man, as if there's only one way to be a man. Oh my God, masculinity is so fragile.
So you're the ones bitching about a word being insulting, yet somehow we're the ones who are fragile? Give me a fucking break, Franny. We don't give a shit if there are beta guys out there. Sure, I think guys should be confident and strong, but that doesn't mean I think they're not real men when they're not. That's your words, not mine. In reality, when we call someone a cuck, we mean they're a beta bitch who won't stand up for themselves. They're a pushover or a follower, a sheep, not a wolf.
In many ways, Trump has become the ideal alpha for many men. His ability to succeed not in spite of, but because of his arrogant and sexist behavior is sadly inspirational to them.
Trump is inspirational because he's an alpha, but he's not sexist. I love how this assertion has become so commonplace for people like this. Franny is again buying her own bullshit. We all know this quote of Trump came from his private conversation 10 fucking years ago. He was talking shit about girls with Billy Bush. Get the fuck over it, Franny. If this quote is the best example you got for Trump being sexist, you're gonna lose this battle, honey, just like you guys lost the election.
So why do people even like to say cuck so much? Because of power. To call someone a cuck is an attempt to wield power over them and implies they're weak and cowardly, not strong and brave like the person slinging insults from their computer screen. That was also sarcasm. But is it even an effective insult? Maybe, if upholding white supremacy and hypermasculinity is important to you. Otherwise,
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Using cuck upholds white supremacy? That's quite a fucking leap you're taking there, Franny. Calling someone a cuck has nothing to do with white supremacy. White supremacy isn't even a fucking thing anymore. If you think you're living under white supremacy, you're probably confusing it with the white majority. America is a white majority country, Franny. Get the fuck over it. And as for hypermasculinity, what the fuck is the hyper part about anyway? Is this super mega hyper Street Fighter 4? No. Hypermasculinity is just masculinity. And when SJWs try to call it hypermasculinity or toxic masculinity, well, what they're really saying is any masculinity is bad. Men being men is bad. Essentially, Franny and her ilk want all men to be beta bitches like her husband. Maybe that's why they're so opposed to alphas and the use of the word cuck, because they want men to think it's more and more okay to be submissive beta bitches. Talk about being manipulative. Apparently for Franny, it's okay to belittle men and white people. That's okay and not manipulative at all to Franny. But don't you dare go out and get dating advice. That's manipulative, sexist, and wrong. Sounds legit to me.
cuck becomes a lot less powerful when you realize its racist and sexist origins. Like most insults, cuck says a lot more about the person using it than the person being called one.
Just like how these Decoded videos say a lot more about you than the topics you cover. I feel like MTV Decoded has become an in-depth look at the mind of a millennial black racist and narcissist. Franny has been showing her true colors more and more with each passing episode. This one in particular shows her sore spot for the word cuck. In an effort to try and rewrite the word's history and meaning, Franny has erroneously revealed her weakness. She must really hate people calling her fans and her husband cuck. Hell, she made a whole bullshit video about it. I wonder what a good 4-letter word would be to comment on that video. And as a side note, calling her husband a cuck is completely accurate. They have a horribly cringy podcast they do together on her other channel. It's pretty apparent she wears the pants in the relationship. She's constantly steamrolling him, being overly confident, overcompensating. It's cringy to say the least.
You're like, wait a second, am I rock climbing right now? What the hell is going on? Oh, there's some jagged titties. They feel like rocks.
This is a bag of pebbles.
Oh my god, that laugh. Kill me now. What do you guys think? Is cuck a racist and sexist insult? Is Franny a true narcissist whack job? Is her husband the top or bottom? Comment below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time. You'll never get to see through this, so drive yourself insane tonight. It's not that far away, and I just filled up your tank earlier today. Yeah.